Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Scrub Club Invitational number 1. We're now into the winners bracket Group H, and we will now be seeing a match between Jathura and Syndicate. So without further ado guys, I will jump right on into the replay, and what we'll be seeing on Cloud Kingdom LE, in the bottom left hand side of the map we have Jathura, our purple Zerg, and then in the top right hand side of the map we have Syndicate R Red Terran, who, as Jathura refers to, is a ladder hero, but Syndicate's slightly confused at this notion and throwing out the dirt face in return. So what we've seen so far through these players' matches so far, guys, I'll just give you a quick rundown whilst the opening boringness of each of these games kind of pursues, although it is Syndicate, so we might see some kind of early strategy. Indeed, throwing out the mind game. So what we've seen so far is Jathura come from the winners bracket round B. He was then successfully able, in that group, to 2-1 Iskar Jarek and knock him into the losers bracket. Nice reply. Then he moved on to the group E of the winners bracket, where he had the kind of fortunate event to have a walkover against, I believe it was Holy Devil, who is our friend Tim, and unfortunately he wasn't able to play that game due to his uni commitments. So he got a walkover there, and so that's how he's ended up in this situation, being in the winners bracket group of H in the third round, I believe, where Syndicate has played one game or one match before this prior, and was able to 2-1 Phonic through many games of cheese and deception, and then in the last one, was just a bit painful to watch because not much happened. But after he was able to 2-1 Phonic, he moved on to the Group H of the winners bracket as well. So no severely different opening style. The main difference is Syndicate is playing Terran now and not Protoss like he did in the last game he played in. And it looks like he's going for some kind of 2 racks opening with a gas coming very soon. Where it looks like Jathura is going for a hatch first, as down there, and an early gas probably into roaches or something that he favours a bit more. Jathura tending to be a heavy roach fester player in the games that we've seen so far. And Syndicate kind of tending to steer towards things like Cloaked Banshees and all that general jazz. But lately he's been, after the tournament, post-tournament I guess I should say, he's been working on a Marauder Marine stim timing that is actually having him quite good success, and he's just going to get this barracks producing as well. An interesting thing to note is Syndicate does not actually use hotkeys as well. This is all hand controlled, and I tried a custom game last night without hotkeys as Terran, and it's quite difficult to achieve. So if you've got a bit of spare time to kill, give that a go. And it looks like he's just throwing down the factory now, and in the main base of Jathura, just a bit of droning with an Evo chamber spine wall as usual, but we might be seeing a bit of pressure here. And is there any, let's give a quick look, no SCV on the way, so there won't be any kind of, I guess, how would you explain it, there won't be any kind of bunker rush, so to speak, just because of the timing of the hatch first, and the huge pool of drones and links will clean up this fairly easily. As he chases him off creep though, and that poor Marine just not winning the battle in the end. So with some proper micro by these queens, they should be able to end hostilities here. And Syndicate, oh, he did have the SCV, I wonder why he didn't bring it to do the bunker placement. Oh well. Anyway, so 12 Zerglings on the way now, and Jathura, yep, there we go, so splits the drones back into 2 forces, or 2 groups, I should say, and works on getting that. Now, does he have speed yet, or no? So he hasn't started speed yet, so that looks like something he's either missed or by just pure accident, or he's missed intentionally because he's going for some kind of different play. So 3 Spinecrawler Wall to stop any other aggression from coming through. And he cleans up the SCV that was waiting there, it looks like. So the next thing for Jathura is going to be to connect these 2 bases with creep and push this supply lead that he has by droning up. And can Jathura see that expansion's going down? Not yet. And what do we have? Fantastic. So we've got the Banshees coming out from Syndicate now. So as I was saying earlier, this seems to be his trademarked play, and he should be researching Cloak any second now, which he'll need to do in order to make the most out of these Banshees. Come on. Alright, we'll come back to it later. So Jathura going for a lair and doing fairly well with his Queen injects, getting a nice saturation. There goes the Cloak now for Syndicate as well, getting fairly good saturation so far on each base. So he'll be looking to take a 3rd soon as well. He's just got to try and not get supply blocked as well. So here we go, and the inject and the Overlords pop. So we've got the forward bunker being placed down as a defensive measure from Syndicate at his expansion. And let's just have a look at the units tab. So there's 12 lings, 47 drones, 20 workers. And is that, yep, so that directly reflects on the income tab as well. So let's have a look here. So we've got a gas at the main not being mined yet. Oh, here we go. There we go. So that's being saturated up now. And he could even take this second gas if he wanted to. So a couple of spores going up in anticipation of the Cloak Banshee play, just because that is one of the main tacks that Syndicate uses. So we're all fairly on edge about it, and we should be able to figure out. So I'll just take myself offline here to make sure I don't get interrupted whilst I'm doing this. And we might even see some siege tanks coming out here as well to make kind of a Marine siege tank Banshee push of some sort. But as I was saying as well, the infestation pit going down, so fungal growths will probably be his key point of defense with his queens and the spores against this Banshee attack. So depending on how, and the overseas being morphed as well, so depending on how this scenario plays out and how effective these Banshees are, we'll either be seeing this go into a fairly late game, or we will probably see it end then and there with a leave from, oh, and the nice little, I didn't notice that before, the little mouth on the Banshee, fantastic. So this overseas is actually in quite a good position, and if it went there, dropped the changeling, he could run straight up into the main of Syndicate and see what he needed to. Also the 3rd being thrown down for Jathura, and a nice amount of lava saved up to instantly saturate that base, and both gases being taken. Indeed, fantastic. So good creep spread as well on top of that, reaching at least the midway point, so he'll be wanting to push that and get that creep highway going as far as he can. And then one of the other things he'll need to be doing is trying to lock down this 3rd expansion for Syndicate to ensure that he stays 2-baser as long as possible and doesn't get any chance to capitalise and get a big Terran Death Ball up. So the supply's falling closer as well, whilst this whole thing's been going on, and Jathura, in anticipation, builds the Overlords up to 200 to ensure no more blockages shall occur. So the 3rd base finishing, and the Queen popping out for it as well. So we've got a Queen at each base, and then an additional one for that creep spread. That is going to be oh so important. So a couple of missile turrets going up. Now, I believe that this is Syndicate counteracting the infestors that have been thrown down, and even though he hasn't really seen... Oh, he has seen an infestation pit, so it looks like he's done a scan and used that information wisely just to put that missile turret there. So that's a good bit of play there, but he's got to remember to not get supply blocked, because this is a fair amount of production and his money's going to start to climb. So There we go. So we're unsupply block now, and he can continue on. So I wonder whether he'll use mules or burn another scan. Because at this stage of the game, with the income looking the way it is, he needs to be using this for his scans. And sorry, for mules, not scans. What am I talking about? Alright, and that creep's starting to edge over into Syndicate's side of the map as well. So this is going to put Jithira in a really good spot, and he could even take he's got a macro hatch, so he could probably even take this 4th base here, or this one here if he's feeling daring. So a large amount of Lings, they upgraded also, they've got +1 on attack, but these Marines, if I can grab one that's by itself, no upgrades on them yet, but +1 end stim is about to finish, and they've already got combat shield. So if these, I'm not sure, Jithira tends to also use quite a lot of Lings, and as we saw in one of the games against Iskar Jarak, quite a few of the Lings that he kept sending in just got melted and melted over and over, but they will be able to lock down this 3rd expansion and stop it from occurring, which is exactly what he'll want to be doing, just to keep Syndicate on 2 base to try and push this supply advantage. Now, he's got quite a bit of money banked up as well, and he's going for Spire. Alright. Now, we don't have Baneling movement out, but we do have +2 attack finishing. Now, where are these Banshees? Are they still... So we've got a murder of Banshees here, which is the correct term for 7 Banshees. And how many racks is that? That's 4 racks, 1 factory, 2 starport. So that's as much as Syndicate will be able to produce out of just being on the 2 bases that he is at the moment. So what he'll need to do is, transitioning into the late game, he'll need to be taking that 3rd base so that he can match the resupply ability of Zerg and Adrenal Glands, and +2 armor being researched as well as the Greater Spire. So looks like Jithira is going to be going straight to Broodlords to try and supplement his army, but he needs to be careful with these Lings and not just blindly run them in. Maybe target down the destructible rocks to get a bit more mobility with his force. So just checking up, making sure that the 3rd base isn't taken again, but this is where he's going to take quite a few unnecessary hits with his Lings, and they'll all be cleaned up before getting there, bringing the supplies straight back into equality. Creep spread really good though, and now lapping at the feet of Syndicate's 3rd, as he does take the inbound, or the what would you say, inside 4th, which the only problem with doing that is it is susceptible to siege and marine fire up on this high ground part. But because of the way he spread his creep, as long as he kind of spreads it out along this highway corridor path, he should be all fine. So another large amount of Lings amassing, and Adrenal Glands popping there, and 3 attack starting as well. So he's got to be careful with the way that he is using these Lings, because he can't just be throwing away free minerals, because that'll just give Syndicate the opportunity to get straight back in this game. Now what Syndicate needs to do is just to remember to try and produce off all of these structures as much as possible, because he could probably be nearly at the same supply if he just stayed on top of going and building all these Marines at once, all his medevacs at once, all of his Banshees, all of his siege tanks and all that jazz. So the flock of cloaked Banshees moved out without an extra that was left at home, and we'll just have to track the progress of them as the 4th base for Jithira begins its saturation. So we'll hit the V button actually. What we'll do is we'll go into Jithira cam. He can see them not cloaked, or he might have been able to see them, but now with the detection, he'll just need to stay on top of his fungal growths and try not to lose too many of these infestors. So 1 good fungal, walk back in, fungal again, and probably throw down some infested Terran, fungal again, good job, and let the infested Terran do the work. You got to fungal once more. Note that the Overseer placement is fantastic, and Syndicate walks away with one Banshee. But it looks like he might be trying to go for something else, but he needs to be a bit more conservative now, because he, as Jathura did earlier in the game, he's just thrown away a bit of supply, and it probably would have been better served for him to attack this third base here, or maybe even shut down the fourth. So here is the Broodlord Ling Festa army for Jathura, and it looks like it wants to be making its way out across the map. Now Syndicate does get 2 fairly good scans, but as shown in the income tab, he needs to be spending those on mules and really quickly take this third base, or else he's going to be mined out and not be able to match the resupply kind of function of Zerg. So Ling's going to check for this fourth now. Just even select the one at the front, poke up, see that it's not there, say cool bananas, and then just rock on away. Back to the main army, where all the infestors are. Now, do they have burrow yet? Alright, so no burrow. And what's Jathura doing? Nothing at the moment. He needs to still be adding to these, his quote death ball. And how many drones does he? He's got 22 lava, so that can make a fair few lings, and he needs to be using this corruptor to take out that as well. Because that's just a bit of free vision that was given away, but looks like Syndicate may not even have been paying enough attention to see that. And oh, is there a overseer? No, but the fungal growth should put an end to it, as long as he stays on top and doesn't lose that infestor. Come on, don't lose the infestor, it's a waste of one infestor down. And that Banshee is worth its weight in gold, but that doesn't matter, because the huge influx of Lings and Broodlings is just slowly pushing forward, taking out all defensive structures. But unfortunately for Jathura, he'll need to be getting a couple of corruptors, but he doesn't have those, so he'll have to be using the fungal growths from the infestors in conjunction with and walking straight through the siege line and losing a bunch of full energy infestors, so he needs to be throwing down infested Terran as well in order to capitalise any neuroparasites, which isn't actually a bad idea. Fairly nice job there, and here's where he tries to break the siege line, but he needs to be pulling back and just letting the Broodlords take the free kills, or else he'll just be wasting a fair bit of just one fungal will take both these out. Alright, cool, so he's got one Broodlord left, just taking out some free supply and even a couple of siege tanks. So 12 more corruptors on the way, and he's left no energy for but that's alright, because the overseer is right there. So see you later, siege tanks. But this corruptor will end, this Viking will end the life of that Broodlord. So we'll have a look. So he's not spending all his lava, but he's got this all this bank, and just wasting another bunch of Lings, and only walks away with one kill on the Marines there. So he needs to be a bit more selective about his engagements as well, because at the moment they're costly things to just be throwing away every game, and there was quite a large supply difference, but now it's not as bad. The problem for Syndicate, though, is that Jathura has completely boxed him in and made him be mined out at his main, so there's not much that he's going to be able to do, and this will be the final kind of push from Syndicate. But the Broodlords are in pretty sick position just to keep picking off, and unfortunately walking those Marines into the siege line will only lose him supply. So no production from Jathura, just another couple of Broodlord, and there we go. So 40 more Lings on the way. And is this a drop or something coming up? Yep. So we've got two medevac drop, which can be, 3 medevac drop, which can be quite effective if it's done in the right place, and might give him the breathing room to expand out again. This game's at the 27-minute mark now, and I mean, Jathura has a lead, but if this drop is really worth its weight in gold, he can easily pull it back in, but he'll need to make sure that he's spending his bank wisely and not just throwing it all away for nothing. And those lings will spot the drop as well. Will Jathura counteract with anything? Because he did lose that Spore Crawler there. But another couple of free kills with the Broodlords there, and this should probably be GG. And and he doesn't even drop in the main base, he's going to walk in, looks like. But the Broodlord's still just doing a lot of damage, and now they're walking into the raid where they're going to be unchallenged, and this drop's not going to be able to do much. With three Spine Crawlers and a bunch of Lings. Yeah, no, this is it. This is going to be game. But, yeah. With the Adrenal Glands upgraded, there's not much else he can do. And all these Marines in the main base being wasted away as well. So the GG from Smeed, or Syndicate. And, yeah. Broodlord's pretty good unit and finally cleaving the game. I'd assume he'd be not happy, but just a little bit relieved that Cloak Banshee doesn't always win, and everyone else leaves the game as well, with Jathura being Victoria, and victorious, not Victoria. And so that means that he will be going 1-0 in the series so far. So guys, make sure you come back for game 2, where we'll see if Syndicate can pull something out of the bag and level the series at 1-1. See you soon.